And turning to the latest on the clash between President Trump and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy. U.S. officials say the road to a peace deal to end the war in Ukraine is uncertain, and they say it hangs on Zelensky's next steps.
Trump administration officials are also considering a pause on U.S. military aid to Ukraine. Let's check in with Alice Barr. She joins us live from Washington with more details. Good morning, Alice.
Good morning, Danita and Matt. Yeah, a lot of seismic shifts in relationships over the weekend after that sort of disastrous Oval Office meeting. European leaders are among those trying to figure out a path forward. And over the weekend, they announced a multi-billion-dollar aid package for Ukraine while working hard to restore critical relations between Ukraine and the U.S.
What's your message to Donald Trump?
This morning, the U.S. and Ukraine navigating a diplomatic detour, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy spending the weekend shoring up European alliances after Friday's Oval Office shouting match.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right?
Zelenskyy was asked to leave the White House without signing an agreement to share Ukraine's critical minerals with the U.S., seen as a first step toward a peace deal with Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump posting overnight in part the U.S. should spend less time worrying about Putin and more time worrying about gangs, drug lords, and murderers entering our country. Friday's meeting devolved when President Zelenskyy insisted his country needs security guarantees to prevent Putin from invading again. Secretary of State Marco Rubio adamant Russia has to negotiate before there's any peace to secure.
But the question now is, can we get them to a table to negotiate? That's our goal. Don't do anything to disrupt that.
Zelenskyy said Sunday he's still willing to sign the mineral deal and believes he can salvage his relationship with the U.S., even as European allies vowed to step up.
We've agreed that the UK, France and others will work with Ukraine on a plan to stop the fighting.
That as Democrats slammed the Trump administration's Ukraine approach.
The White House has become an arm of the Kremlin.
And protests broke out from Vermont, where Vice President Vance was on a family ski trip, to Seattle, where this Ukrainian voiced her people's fears.
I'm terrified. I'm trying to hold my tears right now, but it's not that easy.
No easy path to peace. And NBC News has learned the Pentagon ordered U.S. Cyber Command to stop offensive cyber operations against Russia. That's according to a U.S. official familiar with the matter. Top Democrats are slamming the move as a bid to earn Putin's favor. A senior defense official would not comment because of operational security concerns. But we do know the agency housed within Homeland Security that's charged with defending against cyber threats, including from Russia, said its mission has not changed. Matt and Danita?
You know what, Alice, so what are the next steps here in this situation? Can Ukraine carry on without U.S. support?
Yeah, it's difficult to see how that would be attainable. Now, certainly Europe has promised to step up, and to this point, Europe collectively has provided more in security guarantees, more in security offerings to Ukraine, but the U.S. has been the number one partner, no question. And repeatedly, Europe has said that while it's promising to take the lead, it needs U.S. support to be sort of a backstop. And President Trump is the one who has been able to kind of forge this possibility of bringing Russian leader Vladimir Putin to the table. So certainly we heard from Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, that he said he does not accept the idea that the U.S. is an unreliable ally, and he's continuing to try to keep the U.S. at the table even as European leaders begin to step forward to take the lead.
All right, Alice Barr reporting live from D.C. for us this morning. Thank you. Here at home in Parma over the weekend, community members held a rally following the tense meeting between President Trump and President Zelenskyy. This rally coming a little less than a week after Ukraine marked 3 years since Russia's attack. Organizers say support for Ukraine has slowly faded into the background and hope this rally will reinvigorate the level of support we saw 3 years ago. Hundreds gathered at St. Vladimir Grand Hall to rally for freedom and to affirm the relationships between America and Ukraine as one of unity and not division. Meanwhile, there were 2 other rallies held in Northeast Ohio. One protest took place at the Tesla dealership in Lyndhurst, where demonstrators spoke out against Tesla founder and now Department of Government Efficiency head Elon Musk. Protesters raising concerns about the significant cuts he has made to the federal workforce. And for the second weekend in a row, protesters gathered at Cuyahoga Valley National Park and Peninsula. Around 100 people stood outside the visitor center in support of fired park rangers and staff. The National Park Service eliminated nearly 1,000 jobs last month under the new administration's federal job reduction plan.